Hey there, Bryant Cook, and today we are playing pure Grixis Cycle Storm. And I know, you're gonna say, but Drannith Handler's white. This deck is pure Grixis. Keep your jokes to yourself. But welcome everyone. Happy that you're here. And the reason why we're pure Grixis today is that the metagame has shifted a little bit over the last month. There was that insane run that I was on where I had a 77 match win percentage across 3 events. The last event that I recorded, I went 4-2, which is only a 66 match win percentage. Shucks, that's awful. But I've been doing really, really well with this deck. That said, I don't think the deck list is perfect, and I'm always looking to improve on that, and that's what we're doing today. So, looking at how the metagame has shifted over the last month, Tron has come back. And when Tron comes back, that means that crop rotation for Bazooka Bog is just something that the previous list that I was playing cannot answer. So if we go back and look at that, here's how the sideboard was configured. You'll notice that the deck list in the main deck barely changed. But there's nothing here that answers crop rotation or Bazooka Bog. Well, when we switch to pure Grixis, we gain Dispel. And Dispel is pretty interesting because it just counterspells the crop rotation so that they never gain access to the Bazooka Bog in the first place. So you don't have to answer a trigger. And Dispel is pretty interesting for that reason. So in order to support Dispel, we've added in a second island to the main deck over a swamp. I did consider -1 Barrenmoor +1 swamp, but I think you end up with some consistency issues mid-combo when you're doing that. So I decided to do a 2-2 split because there will also be games where you board in the mountain, and 6 basics is a lot. So then you're boarding out a swamp. It just gets messy. So I think this is the proper mana base, but I could change my mind. Who knows? But I think 2-2 is good for now. But also, people in the Storm Discord, if you're unaware, you can also join the Discord by clicking on the description down below. Just click the link, you'll become a part of our awesome community. But people in there have mentioned playing 2 islands in the past because there will be games where you start your turn on teachings for Reaping the Graves, but then you draw a repository scab and you've already used your island. So this list, it dodges that a little bit because you have 2 copies of Island, so you can always cycle for the other one with Ash Barrens to mana fix, which is just super, super nice. So I think if you're not going to be playing this heavy blue package in the sideboard, it should be 3-1. But if you're going to play the heavy blue package in the board, I do like the second island. So Dispel helps beat Tron, and I'm a big fan of that. So I mean, that's the primary reason why it's here. You can board it in against blue decks, but if they're not fairies, you can board them all in. But against fairies, I don't think you're supposed to board in 6 protection spells because you're just overboarding. And the spell doesn't counter Spellstutter Spray, which is the biggest issue with that matchup. So I don't like the idea of boarding in all 6 there. Maybe you could do like 3 Pyroblast, 1 Dispel. It also makes your mana a little bit easier. So I think that's probably fine, but I wouldn't do all 6. I think that's a little bit of a trap. And then you'll notice Repeal. So looking at this previous list, this 4-color list, I was looking at it and, I've never been in love with Shredded Sails. I hate every time I have to board it in. It's just like kind of miserable. You also have to bring in the mountain to do so. So when switching over to Pure Grixis, I had a step in the middle where I was thinking, well, what if I don't play red? What if I just play pure green? Because you get Dissenter's Deliverance, which cycles for 1 single green mana. It's really smooth. You can get it out of your hand quickly. You have lots of ways of finding your forest. Maybe this won't be so bad. But the problem with a list like this is that Dispel's just so bad against fairies, where I feel like you're sacrificing a lot of consistency against fairies to maybe have an answer to relics that aren't even that popular to begin with. Where with this Grixis list, Repeal's sort of a nice in between because it cycles for a single blue, which is better than a green if you have a Lotus Petal. So that way you could just tap your island, bounce your Lotus Petal, gain a Storm for Reaping the Graves, which is also pretty relevant, and it just cycles for a blue instead, which is a much better color for this deck to begin with. So I think Repeal makes a lot of sense there, and if you need to destroy a relic or bounce a relic, it's the same as Dissenter's Deliverance to hardcast anyway. But let's say your opponent doesn't have anything. Repeal is a big tempo swing as well while cycling, so you don't have to feel bad about boarding out Architects of Will because it cycles to have a bounce spell that cycles. So I'm really, really interested in Repeal. I almost today played 4 copies of Repeal and Cut Darkness. And you might notice that while this list is green, there's no Spore Frog in it. And that's not an accident. So Spore Frog is a card that was really good for the few weeks where I was on my heater. But the problem is that the metagame shifted against us, where Bogles now is playing 4 copies of Gutshot on the sideboard to combat us. And if they're going to be playing 4 copies of Gutshot, we have to adjust back. So Darkness is back, at least for now. And, you know, it's not Spore Frog. I mean, rest in peace, Frog. I love you. You're a beautiful Japanese foil that I now own. But I do think Darkness is probably a little bit better now. I don't know if you're supposed to board in Repeal and Darkness versus a deck like Bogles. I think it's probably just the Darkness, but Repeal could bounce an Ethereal Armor or something else as a tempo swing. Just an option for you. But I think Repeal's something I'm really interested in trying, and I'd like to see how it plays out. Against a deck like Boros, you can also bounce, what is it called? Why can't I think of it? The 2-mana prowess creature that gains life, whatever. You can bounce creatures with it for the tempo swing. The fear there is that, sorry, let me mute that. The fear there is that they're a deck that boards on 4 Pyroblast against you, and they're a deck that has Relic. So there is a little bit of a fear there that your answer will get pyroed. That said, I think Repeal's just so much better than every other option, where you just have to play to making it work. And with losing green, I did bring back a second D Hottest Ploy. So for the burn matchup previously, we were boarding in a Forest and 2 Gnaw to the Bone, where we weren't even boarding in our Hydroblast against burn before. So this sideboard plan is a little bit, we're using our slots more wisely, I'll say, but they're less powerful. So instead of having a hammer, we just have some nails. We have to hope that, you know, we can use our screwdriver to hit in the nails. I don't know, some expression there. But yeah, they're not as powerful, but they're likely to get the job done. Like a second ploy in the burn matchup's very good. Hydroblast can obviously slow them down, but it's not perfect. So we're going to board in these 3 and hope it's fine enough. And you'll notice I did cut a Pyroblast for a Dispel, just for that Tron matchup, because against Tron, I'm not sure if I want to bring in Pyroblast. It is fine against him, but Tron is going to board in 4 Hydroblast and 4 Pyroblast against us. So if possible, I want to make sure that Hydroblast isn't active against us and only Red Elemental Blast or Pyroblast are. So I think I'm only going to board in these copies of Dispel. That's my current game plan, at least. Hopefully it works. If you have any questions about this, feel free to put those in the comment section down below. I love answering all that stuff. I'm sorry this intro was a little bit rambly. I have a lot to say, and sometimes I don't think it all through before I say it, so that's what I've got. The deck list, the main deck really hasn't changed outside of that 1 land swap to support all these blue cards, but the sideboard is pretty much the only thing in flux right now, which is what you should expect out of a really good deck, because we're adjusting to the metagame. That's where you want your deck list to be. You shouldn't be questioning 4 to 5 slots in your main deck every week. So this deck list is so good. I hope that I continue my heater today. And honestly, the last video where I went 4-2, where I introduced the song trick, you know, like that video did very well. It's already past 5,000 views. People loved the new trick, even if it was with the same deck list. And while I still think that 4-2 was a good event, like the only reason I didn't 5-1 was because I was not good enough for the challenge. I misplayed. I got punished for poor play. That should have been a 5-1 and another top 8. So we're just going to play better today. That's the goal, and crush face. So thank you for watching. Stick around. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. That said, there's no better way of showing your support than becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks, and we get to keep making combo content. The perks get better and better each level you go up. They also stack. To start off, with our Storm Fan tier, you unlock our private members section of our Discord, which comes with a highlighted user profile and then some awesome badges and emotes for YouTube. Looking for sideboard help? Become a Stormtrooper, our middle tier, for 2 sideboard guides of your deck choice every single month, on top of 50% off donation decks. Did we mention you also get 10% off merchandise from our shop? With our top tier, the Combo Cabal, you get a free donation deck every single month. 15% off merchandise from our shop, early access to private deck lists, and the most valuable perk in my opinion, videos early. That's right, you heard it, early access to all videos. But maybe sweet perk, secret deck list, early access to videos isn't for you, but you'd still like to show your appreciation. Make sure to check out theepicstorm.com/shop for card singles and Storm swag. Please don't forget to use your membership discounts. Finally, if you want to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel, make sure to visit theepicstorm.com/donation decks, where all you have to do is attach your TXT file and pick a donation tier. With our Epic tier, you can even join me in a video to showcase your bold brew in person and explain the ins and outs of your strategy. Card availability won't be an issue due to our new sponsor, Card Hoarder. With Card Hoarder, renting is super easy. If you're looking to get into Magic Online, there isn't a better, more affordable solution than Card Hoarder. Fun fact, you can rent the Epic Storm for 7 tickets a week, which is just a great deal. There are many ways you can support us. Just pick whatever is best for you. In the meantime, let's play some Magic. Hey there, welcome to round number 1. Sorry, I'm down a minute or so on clock. I didn't realize that it started. We're on the draw. We've opened up a hand that's perfectly fine. We're going to keep this. Our opponent recently did well with Blue-Red Skred, but they have a long history of playing Affinity, so we're about to find out what they're playing, and it is in fact Blue-Red Skred. Okay, let's just play the Barrenmore and pass here. You could cycle Street Wraith looking for an untapped land, but you just don't need to. Try to F6 here to gain some seconds back. I did waste a solid 2 minutes in the beginning of this on accident. Draw. Alright, ploy. Let's cycle the Street Wraith looking for a land. We found one. It's a tap land, but it's still a land. Okay, let's just play the Barrenmore and pass the turn. And they missed their second land, so it looks like they're a little bit brainstorm locked here. This hand was probably kept because of the raw amount of power in it. And they bottom both. Another song. So let's cycle the Street Wraith. It brings us to 3 creatures. Okay, cycle the Vantasaur. Another Street Wraith. So that's going to be 5. Can't quite win yet with this hand. Ash Burns is a good pickup. Let's go get our island. I guess we have 2 islands today. Alright, so now we're going to pass the turn. Hope that our opponent missed that land drop again. And it looks like they did. So they have 6 in hand. We should be able to go for it on our turn. Alright, we'll take 1 down to 13. Draw. Another dino. You'll love to see it. Alright, let's get this dinosaur doing some cardio. We'll cycle it. And yeah, I think it's just go time. Cabal Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Let's cast Teachings. Go get a Reaping the Graves. We have 6 creatures in the graveyard. So I will need mana from one of these songs, but let's do the cycle trick on the next one. I guess I don't need to. We can just return all of them here. My bad. Okay. We don't need the storm count. And then we return a bunch of Street Wraiths. And then the other creatures. Okay. So you could respond to each cycle here in order to maximize Songs of the Damned, but we have so much mana floating and available to us that I just don't think that's going to be necessary. So let's just cycle here. Okay, keep cycling. Dark Ritual's a good draw. Let's cast that. Cycle the Horror. And again. Another Reaping the Graves was a good pickup. Alright, Dino. Keep doing your cardio. Good for you. Okay, cycling away. So I could go get... We haven't played a land yet this turn, so I'm going to go get the other island out of the deck. So we're seeing the double blue source thing come up in the very first game with this deck. Played the second island, and now we can scob back this song. So it's going to be a pretty good interaction for us. While thinning our deck. Cycle. And another songs. How lucky. Okay, we can cycle the Baron more here. Play Petal, why not? And now let's Scob. Exploit it. Return that songs. Roughly infinite mana, or so it feels like. And now we can Reaping the Graves, get everyone back. Good deal. And now we just have to go through and win the game. Okay. We're at 7, so we can cycle all of our street rates, but we would go to 1, and would essentially turn off our what is it called? Our Blood Celebrant. I am going to play a Stinger here just to get things moving, because I lost 2 minutes in the beginning here. You could play it a little more cautiously and not do that, but I think the chance you fizzle from here is just so low that you should just start stinging. Okay, just keep cycling. Cycle a healer, we're not going to need to play that. 26 cards left in deck. Cardio Dino, cycle you, do the auto yield thing. Dark Ritual's a good draw. Okay. I guess now what we want to find is either the what is it called? The Blood Celebrant or another Lotus Petal to play a second Stinger, and here it is. So now we can play Stinger number 2. And just keep going. Whoops. Oh, they conceded. I thought I was lagging for a second, but they just conceded. Alright, so we got game number 1. And here we're going to board in our Pyroblasts and our Mountain. I must have misclicked. Or did it board in? It did board in. Okay. So here I like boarding out 1 Teachings and then the Architect. So I'm going to board similarly to how the deck was constructed before, where I'm going to board in 1 Dispel. Dispel's not amazing because it gets hit by Spell Stutter. It can't hit Spell Stutter. I mean, I'm trying to say words are difficult, bear with me. But I think it's still worth having because we are a double island deck, and having not requiring red to double counter in 1 turn is going to be pretty nice. That said, I do think it's a little bit of a liability. So why don't I board in more? Because I could board up to 6 pieces of interaction. I'm aware that's something our deck can do. The downside of that is, what if you open up on a bunch of them and then your deck all of a sudden doesn't work? Or what if you draw into too many mid-combo? It's a little bit of a liability in my experience, so I'm just going to do the 4, the same plan that we had before. If you wanted to, you could board out another Teachings or maybe even the Scob in order to have those additional counters, but I'm just going to leave it as is. And I'm at 61 right now, actually, so I'm going to board out a Baron more. That was something I meant to, or I guess I'm facing a blue deck. I should do a Lotus Petal. I do like going up 1 land against blue decks, and against non-blue decks, I board out the Baron more. So game number 2 against Izzet Skred. This seems like a pretty reasonable hand to me. I'm going to keep this. I think I'm going to fire off the Street Wraith first to see if I can hit a land, to then cycle these Ash Barrens so I don't have to play one as a colorless land. Draw. Songs, I'm not going to complain about that, but Dark Ritual. So I think I'm going to just cycle the Vantasaur, see if okay, I didn't hit. Because if I drew into a land, that would give me more information on what to cycle for, but unfortunately I just didn't. And here they have the Ninja. So they're getting ahead quickly this game. I'm going to take a draw before I cycle just to see if I hit the land. Another Dino. Okay, so I think I'm just going to grab a Swamp here. Something I could do is just accelerate into Horror here. Because the Skred builds have a tough time answering it. They do keep in Skred, but it would also hold back the Ninja for a little bit. Honestly, I think I'm up for it. Let's play the Horror. Let's go. So we know that they have a Fairy as a blocker. Cycling the Ash Barrens, probably getting their Mountain here if I had to guess. Yep, Snow-Covered Mountain. Question is, do we block? Because if they have Bolt or Skred, it's just like, it's going to feel really bad. It is a 2-for-1 getting the ninja off the table. I'm going to call their bluff. If you bolt it, you bolt it. Okay. And they chose not to replay the fairy this turn. And honestly, the 2 dark rituals weren't really a loss with what her hand is right now anyway. Okay. A little bit awkward. We need to find a red source, and then we need to find a Reaping the Graves. And there's the fairy again. They're down to 4 cards in hand. Draw. Another horror. I think I'm just going to cycle it. There's a Reaping. We just need to draw a red source now. They put 1 on top, 1 on the bottom with the fairies here on the previous turn. So they kept 1 card they wanted. It looks like they have another ninja. Okay, so if we draw a red source here, this is definitely a go turn. Draw. That's a bummer. I guess Spellstutter can't hit Cabal Ritual. But it can be Spell Pierced. Okay. That's the turn. Okay, so we're starting to get buried at this point. We really have to find the red source for the Pyro, but it might just be too late. Fairies here's back. 1 on top, 1 on the bottom. They still have 5 cards. Draw. Let's cycle the Baronmore, I suppose. Another Baronmore. I think I'm gonna hold it. You could play it so that way you can double songs, but I just don't think that's going to be a reasonable choice for us here. They're feeling pretty confident playing out another Spell Stutter. So I wonder if they have any reach in their hand or if it's just a second ninja. Second ninja. Okay, it's pretty good. So they have Spell Stutter in their hand and they're drawing 2. Draw. Cycle. We are dead to Lightning Bolt, it's worth noting. Cycle this. Found our red source, but I fear that it's just too late. Third Teachings. Preordain. 2 on the bottom. So now I take 5 going to 2. We know that they have at least 1 Spell Stutter. I'm pretty unlikely to win here, in my opinion. It's interesting that they would bottom 2 and then fetch to shuffle. Okay, so, I mean, I'm not going to win this, but we can try. Alright, we drew Island. Try songs. What could go wrong? Just let it go. I'm going to attempt a Pyroblast here, and then probably just concede this game. We just got stuck on mana. Alright, so that'll do that. Okay, let's just resubmit. I mean, honestly, that's what we need to do here. Bad draws happen. Just, you know, suck it up, move on. And now we're on the play for the 3rd game, where we have turn 2 Horror of the Broken Lands again. I'm gonna Peanut Butter and Jam. Let's do it. Too bad it isn't turn 1 and that it's bare. If this was Swamp, oh my. Oh my. Alright. Or if we had that Petal on turn 1, so good. Might as well play this out now. Just in case we need to. Alright, Horror, I'm looking for you to do damage this game. Get in there. No blocks. And let's cycle this one. Auto yield. Ooh, swamp was a good pickup. Pass the turn. They're up to 3 now. Get in there. I'm gonna cycle Stinger. It's a little bit risky in case we don't end up drawing more cyclers. They're at 8. Okay, need to figure out how I want to handle this. I think I'm supposed to cycle this horror on the end step, because I could, like, look to Reaping the Graves, potentially. No, I'm just gonna untap and draw. Cycler. They're gonna block, but let's just move to attackers. Cycle this horror. So the question is, do I let this happen? Because I could make sure that my horror lives. But if I let it die, Songs makes 4, Threshold, Reaping the Graves, get back 4, and then I can play Stinger with mana floating in 3 cyclers when they're at 8. So it's definitely an interesting thing here. Do I go for the Stinger win, or do I make sure that my horror lives? Because horror, if they go land next turn, is in the range of dying to Skred. So I think I'm going to let it go. And then songs, Ball Ritual, Reaping the Graves, get back all 4. Creature. I actually have 8 mana, so I could go Stinger into Horror here too. But I don't know if I like that, because if I take that line, the Stinger just dies to removal. So if they have, like, Bolt Skred, I get punished. I think I'm just going to go for the win. Alright, let's go. Cycle. Come on, deck, be good to me. Alright, that was a good one. So that means that I can get another Reaping the Graves with this Teachings. Cycle. Or not Reaping the Graves, Songs of the Damned. Boy's fine, I just don't know if it's what we need here. Yeah, we might have fizzled. I can still play Horror. Maybe that's the line. This is a tough choice. So I just get wrecked by Skred. I'd have to literally chain 4 cyclers in a row off this cycle in order to win. The downsides of me playing Horror is Skred Bolt, or honestly, even just Skred. And then I can't cast either blue card in my hand. Tough choice. I know I'm playing the Petal. We might as well play Petal. I think I'm just going to cast the Horror. Alright, be good to me, deck. Well, I guess it's not be good to me, deck. The deck already failed me. So opponent don't have it. So they had the Blue Blast. And Ninja. Okay. So Ninja's a chump blocker here. Another Horror. Come on, don't block. And they wisely blocked. Alright, I'm just going to pass. Auger's a good one. Lightning Bolt. Okay. They have a lot of snow permanents here, so Skred will kill the Horror if they can find it. And they're the Monarch, so they're just drawing so many cards every turn. Get in there. We will not have 6 through our turn this time when we know that our opponent has a Bolt. I learned that lesson 2 weeks ago. Cycle. Okay. 4 mana. Another Ninja. Yeah. At some point, we're just hoping that they hit a chain where they have nothing but counters in hand and the Horror kills them. Ball Ritual. Not really what we need here. Okay, so now we pass. Land. 5 cards. Are they passing? Thinning with the wilds, and then they get to draw off the Monarch. So the Monarch could find them the answer or a blocker with Spell Stutter. Draw. They have 6 cards in hand. Okay, I'm just going to let it go. So I could try to cast a Stinger here, but they've shown us that they've already boarded in Blue Elemental Blast. I think we should just keep that to make sure it doesn't die to, like, bolts. Alright, opponent's going to end step again. Is this our window? They didn't concede. Pyroblast. Get in there. No blocks. Cycle. Opponent says GG's. GG's opponent. And we got round number 1 attacking with Horror of the Broken Lands. Oh yeah. Horror too strong. Too strong. Well, that was awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. Match number 2 will be coming up in just a second. If you haven't joined them already, I would recommend opening up our description down below and joining our 7 social media networks. They're each great in their own way, but I would strongly suggest joining our Discord server. In there, you will find others just like you looking to improve their Storm game and grow as a combo community. If you're a member of our YouTube channel, you should sync your account to Discord to unlock our private member section that has the latest and greatest deck lists, concepts, and much, much more. Let's get back to comboing out. Welcome to round number 2. We're on the draw once again. We've opened up a reasonable hand. We're going to keep this. Mountain. Draw. Could be burn after we went and cut our Gnaw to the Bones. That would not be good. Well, burn doesn't play Ash Barrens. Alright, so it's red-white. I do like this matchup, but I did lose playing in top 4 against Javier Dominguez with this deck. So my deck sort of, I'll say, pooped the bed, and it didn't work out for me. But I do think that this is a very favorable matchup. So at this point, what we're looking to do is just draw creatures. That's what we want here. Songs of the Damned, not ideal. Let's cycle this healer, see if we can hit another creature. Yikes. So this is how you lose with this deck, is that our deck has 25 creatures in it, and we've drawn 1. So fortunately, this deck isn't always the fastest, so we just have to hope that we don't get rallied and we draw some creatures quickly. Draw. Crap. Alright, cycle. Player land. I mean, we could still go off if we draw a chain of creatures, but right now it's looking a little grim for us. So we'll take 2 here, going to 17. And another Hawk. And they can play Hawk number 4 as well. Yep. Draw. There's a creature. Cycle. And another Dark Ritual. I think I'm actually going to just discard Teachings here. Yikes. This should be the easy game for us, and we're punching it right now. We have 5 mana. So if they have Rally, this will deal 12 damage, putting me to 5. There it is. Rally the Peasants. And they're representing lethal on their next turn. We did not draw a creature. We drew 2 creatures in the top 25% of our deck. I'm probably just dead here. Yeah, this is a bummer. Get back our 2 creatures. Return the healer. I mean, we don't have a choice, so we just have to go for it. Cycle. Cycle. Cycle the Dino. Also, if we even drew a Street Wraith, if we cycle it, we're dead to Lightning Bolt. Cycle this Baron War. Cycle the Horror brings us down to a single black. Alright, so now we're dead to Bolt if they have it, but we can't play around Bolt anyway. Do you have it? Okay, play Lotus Petal. I wonder if they're just slow rolling me because they thought a really long time about that. Songs. And the slow roll. Sure, you got it. So we lost game number 1. It's a bummer, but like we just didn't draw well, unfortunately. So here we're gonna board in the Flaring Pain and take out. I personally like taking out a Teachings because it keeps your creature density high, and they're boarding in a bunch of Pyroblasts against us anyway. And you ever really only want to draw a single Teaching. So we could board in the Repeal, but I would rather wait until we see that they have a Relic or something first. And that's a little bit dangerous because we're going to the post-board games where if they draw Relic, it's going to be pretty tough for us. But it's not a card you really want to see anyway. So, I don't know. We could board in the Repeals. Could do like 1 Repeal for now. You could try this. You know what? Screw it. We're here to try out new cards. Let's do both Repeal. Game 2 on the play. Classic no lands mulligan. And this is probably fine. We're gonna bottom one of the Ash Barrens. Keep. And we'll start on turn 1 Barrenmoor, upkeep cycle for an island, and then cycle the Vantasaur. Alright, play the Barrenmoor, pass. Plains into Thraben Inspector. Let's go grab our island. Draw. We're just going to be lazy and cycle this now. Yeah, so now we have creatures. And we're going to want to keep cycling, play some lands, and eventually find a Reaping the Graves. And their Seeker of the Way, the creature that I couldn't remember the name of. Okay, draw. Street Wraith. Let's cycle the Horror. Dino. Missed out on our land, but we drew Repeal something. And pass. So this would be a Architects of Will. Dissect their Clue. And for a Boros Garrison. We're going to take 3 here, draw. Cycle a Healer. Flaring Pain. A lot of sideboard cards. Cycle the Stinger. Not going our way right now. So if you wanted to, theoretically, you could have held up Petal for Repeal on the Seeker if they tried to rally right here. But if you do that, well, Rally's going to be lethal next turn now. But if you do that, you're not trying to hit a land that actually advances your game plan, in my opinion. So now we go to 10, draw, another Petal. So if they rally, we can bounce a bird, but then it's still just lethal. I'm gonna cycle a Dino. Songs of the Damned, not a bad draw. Dark Ritual. Cycle the Stinger. Let's see what we can hit here. Teachings gets you a Reaping. Cycle Stinger. Alright, go to 8, cycle the Street Wraith. And another Ash Barrens. Okay, so let's cast the songs. I'm gonna hang on to this Ash Barrens for now because we could play an island later. So this makes 10, so I could gain a few mana here by getting songs first. I think that might actually be the play. And then flashback. And then we get Reaping. So then we're going to have 7 mana floating post Reaping the Graves. It's right on top of the Vantasaur. This is going to be for 8. So I'm not getting back all 10, I'm aware. I could do a repeal trick here, but I don't think wasting the mana is the right play. Okay, so we're going to return the Street Race. This will put us to 4. Cycle. Cabal Ritual is a great draw there. Alright, cycle this healer. Baron Moore is not really what we want. Cycle. Hello, Dark Ritual. Cycle this Dino. There we go. Okay, so we have 2 songs left. Another draw we would like is what is it called? Repository Scab. Or Scab, whatever. Alright, cycle this. 4. 2 songs left. There's our island, so we don't have to cycle for the island anymore. Alright, cycle the Dino, 5 mana. Ding! Cycle. Okay, let's cycle the healer. Cycle the Barrymore, going down to 2 black mana floating. 1 black mana floating, cycle the Horror, Dark Ritual. So the question is, do I want to pull lands out of the deck? How much? It makes 14? Because it's wasting mana in case we fizzle. I think I'm gonna repeal here. And then the question is, do I repeal the Lotus Petal because it would give me extra storm so I could return all the creatures? I think the answer is yes. Let's bounce the Lotus Petal. That's going to put me to 2. Let's cycle the Street Wraith. And then we can cycle the Dino. And another Reaping. Okay. 21 cards left. We could pull both swamps out. I just don't think that's the play. Sorry, I know that I'm spending a long time on this thinking about it. Now I'm returning creatures. You'll notice I didn't click Street Wraith first, and that's because I can't cycle them. So now I'm going to get back to Street Wraiths, but there's no point in returning them first when I'm at 2 life, so they might as well stay in the graveyard just a little bit longer, so that way if I draw the last songs, it makes a little bit of extra mana. Okay. 20 cards left. You know what? Let's just pull the swamps out. That Cabal Ritual sealed it for me. Alright, so going down to 18. We have 14 mana floating. We should be able to draw most of our deck here. Okay. Blood Celebrant's not bad. Petal. Lovely. Love you, Cabal Ritual. So now we're 1 mana short of being able to cycle through our entire deck. And there's the Scab that can get back songs. Another Petal. Cycle here. Just keep cycling. Okay. Just have to finish going through this now. Okay, cycle the Vantasaur. There's also a ploy in there that we could cast to gain a bunch of life. Alright, 6 cards left. Am I wrong? Do we not have... I should count our number of songs here before I continue. 1 songs, 2 songs, 3 songs. Yeah, there's 1 left. I'm just trying to make sure. Cycle the healer. Now these are returning Street Wraiths that I can't cycle. Alright, 5 cards left. We can play these Petals. I guess maybe I should have cycled the Barrymores first, because now if I hit the songs, it's 1 less mana. Dark Ritual. Cycle. Yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake on my part. It's not going to be the end of the world, but... So I could guarantee find the songs here, assuming that I didn't miscount. I mean, I only see 3 in the graveyard. Let's cycle the Barrymore first. The Ball Ritual. Alright, so this is going to bring us down to 0 cards. And we'll just discard a Swamp. Turn off all of our auto yields, so that way if I had one, it's not there anymore. Alright, and now we'll... I guess I don't need to sacrifice that, my bad. Songs. Blood Celebrant. Pale Life. Play Scob. Exploit. Return of Songs. Cast it. Pay a red. Play Stinger. And now we can Reaping the Graves back our graveyard. Alright, now we just need to quickly end this game. Return everything. 13 minutes on the clock should be plenty for game 3. So the big thing is not playing too quickly so you don't click through and accidentally draw a card or empty your mana pool, something like that. So 13 minutes is plenty of time. Let's just play tight. And now let's add some red mana. Love you, Blood Celebrant. You're so effective. Okay, cast this. Cast this. Should be a 4th one. There you are, all the way at the end. Alright, now we're going to cycle. Auto yield to these abilities, but not the draw. And just keep cycling. Cycle these Horrors of the Broken Lands. And finish them off with an Architects of Will. Why not? Oh no! I apparently miscounted. So they'll die to an Ashburns instead. Oh, they were at 24, not 20. Gotcha. The Seeker of the Way gained 4. So that's game number 2. We do have to win game number 3 still. Repeal seemed fine there. I don't know if it actually mattered that it was an Architects of Will, but it did give us a little bit of a backdoor to beating a Relic. And now we get to try to do the same thing in game number 3. Game 3 on the draw, and we've opened up a keeper. Okay, 12.5 minutes, plenty of time. Turn 1 Inspector again. Okay, I'm just going to be lazy and cycle this Architects. Trying to not play the Barrymore unless we have to. Like, if I draw another land here, this Barrymore can be saved to cycle, so that way we don't run out of cyclers again. And the Inspector is going to... played right into their thing. What a dummy. I completely forgot about Dawnbreaker Cleric. Yeah, that's just on me. No excuses. Alright, we're just going to play our land and pass. I mean, they probably would have gotten it on the next turn, but I allowed them to play on curve while disrupting me, which is just bad. Okay, so we're going to fall to 17 here. Sure. And the Garrison, you got it. Yeah, they would have gotten it right here, so I took 1 extra damage. That's what it came down to. Okay, we drew the island, draw. Just gonna pass. No need to do it on our main phase. We hit our land drop, so the Battle Screech. So now next turn they're representing Rally again. So this would be 6 times 3, so 18. So Repeal would actually keep me alive, assuming that they do have Rally. Cycle. Speaking of Repeal, cycle. Cycle. So no action spell quite yet. Draw. Cycle this Barrymore. And then played the Blood Celebrant as a blocker. I'm at 16. Yeah, I would go to 1, assuming that they had Bolt plus Rally. Discarded 2 lands. So we get 2 redraws here on the Repeal and the Barrenmoor. But we're going to have to find a Reaping the Graves. They have another Battle Screech. So it's not Rally this turn. But if they have a Rally, I'm going to be dead pretty quickly. We're going to bounce one of these birds. Okay, am I supposed to... I think I'm probably supposed to block just to make songs a little bit better. Okay. Because I don't... Like, I can always get back to Celebrant. I'm at 13. Next turn they have 6. 9? So I'm not dead to Bolt, but I would be dead to the Rally that they didn't cast this turn. Alright, so we have 2 draws, and there it is. Boom. Cycle. Cycle the Street Wraith. Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual. Let's cycle the Barrenmoor, why not? Cycle the Vantasaur. Let's Cabal Ritual. Petal. Petal. Have I played a land? I've not played a land. I'm going to pull a land out of the deck. Question is, do I think I do want to cast the songs. Alright, so now we can return a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to return the Blood Celebrant because we don't have enough Storm to return all of our creatures. This is going to be Storm 7, and I already have 2 open islands. So the Celebrant will actually be the only creature we don't return. Street Wraith, and then the others. Something you could ask yourself is, do I want to play both Stingers and start cycling? Because you'd have 5 cyclers, and you would need 5 more to win the game. Which is a very fair question to ask when you have this much mana. Honestly, I think that's going to be the line I go for here. Okay, so let's play a Stinger. Play another Stinger. Keeping open the blue mana for now. Let's cycle Horse. We need 5 more cyclers off 5 draws. Ooh, I can play another Stinger. So then each cycle deals 3. Then, yeah, I'm gonna do it. All right, don't fail me. So now we need 6 cycles. We have 3 already. That's not awful. It opens up a ritual to being good. That wins the game. Cycle. Alright, they're at 9, so I can go to 7 here and cycle this. We need to use both blue, and then we're going to exploit the Scob. Return songs. Cast the songs for 7, Reaping the Graves. This can get everyone back this time. Street Wraith, Horror, Celebrant. Yeah, we have way more Storm than what we need. Okay. So it looks like we're going to win match number 2 over Boros. Alright, go to 5, cycle. Triple Stinger. Go to 3. I'm in bolt range, but they're dead. Alright. 2-0. 5 rounds left to go. Today's event is 7 rounds, so just keep playing tight. 1 round at a time. Make good decisions. That's what we're going to do. I'll see you in match number 3. Playing your favorite combo deck in Paper just got so much easier with the Epic Storm Mini Token Pack. You can pick one up at theepicstorm.com/shop for $13. It includes 64 double-sided mini tokens. That's 128 tokens total. And they include 10 black, 10 blue, 10 red, 5 green, 5 white, 3 colorless, 20 storm counters. That means that you can count your way all the way up to 20 for Grape Shot, everyone's favorite Stormwind condition, a Galvanic Relay Exile Indicator, 4 treasure tokens for Strike It Rich, and then 10 monk tokens for our vintage friends. It also has Slime Time Live, Ave Progenitor Ooze tokens with the power and toughness already built in to make playing in Paper so much easier. No fumbling around with dice. We've got you covered. make sure to go grab those if you're playing Modern. And then Squirrels versus Goblins, Chatterstorm versus Empty the Warrens, the Battle of the Ages. You definitely need 20 Squirrel tokens and 20 Goblin tokens. You're going to love this mini token pack, I promise. And once again, you can grab that at theepicstorm.com/shop. Welcome to round number 3. We're on the play for once. Let's see if we can get the job done. And, you know, a lot of people would see this hand and think that it's a mulligan. But honestly, this hand, even if this was an Ash Barrens, would be a keep. You have 4 colorless cyclers. You're going to hit lands or Lotus Petal at some point. Like, this is going to be just fine. Alright, pass the turn. Back off. What are you playing? Affinity. Okay. Cycle. Or the Broken Lands. Sure. Draw. Lotus Petal, cycle the Dino. And I think we just passed here. You could burn the Petal to cycle, but I don't think that's very wise. Alright, so we're going to go to 19, and what do you have for your 2-drop? The best one you could possibly have, Atog. Okay, so let's cycle here. Dark Ritual. So, seems a little bit crazy. I'm going to pass the turn here because it gets another creature to our graveyard that gets us a little bit closer to Threshold. And then they're unlikely to kill us here, I think. So next turn, I'm going to attempt to win. It's going to be a little bit dicey, but I think that's the play. So we have 4 cards in graveyard. Lotus Petal will be 5. Dark Ritual will be 6. And then we can cycle Horror. And that will be card number 7 into Cabal Ritual, Cabal Ritual. Wedding Invitation. Sure. Okay. We still have 5 cards, so each one of these represents 3 damage. So they were just short of murdering me there. We hit a swamp. Okay, so let's play that. Play our Lotus Petal. Dark Ritual. Cycle. We have to hit a Reaping here in order to do something. I mean, Songs is nice, but it's not quite what we need. I'm going to sacrifice this for blue. And that's going to get us the Threshold, and then we can play Cabal Ritual. So, it's worth noting, if we draw Teachings, that would be a decent draw. It wouldn't be Reaping, but it'd be close. Okay, just keep cycling. Come on, deck. Give me... There we go. Cycle. Beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. Terms 4. Alright, let's play the songs. Play the Scob. The Scob's going to get back songs. Exploit, sacrifice, return the Songs of the Damned. So we could try to do the cycle trick here. My concern with that is we have, this is going to be storm number 7, 8. And then we'd be going down to 6 mana, so we'd actually be going down. And if you're unfamiliar with the cycle, or the songs trick, you cast the songs, you hold priority, you cast Reaping the Graves, and then you cycle a bunch. And by the time you get empty, there's more creatures in your graveyard than what you initially had. Because we have less mana than we do Mana Songs is going to make, that trick isn't going to work. So we're just going to cast it first and allow the ability to resolve and then return everything. We also have the Scob coming back, so that trick isn't as crucial. Because we can always get back a Songs of the Damned. So there's a single healer that's not going to come home. Okay, Lotus Petal's fine. Cycle. We've already played our land. We drew the swamp this turn. Another Reaping's good. Keep cycling. Okay. Blood Celebrant's fine. So we do have to remember not to go too low on life, or else this ATOG could punish us. Okay. Poise decent. Cycle. Dark Ritual. Love it. And then we have the Scob coming back. Let's cycle the Barrymore, see what we can hit. Another Reaping's good. Might as well play out the Blood Celebrant. And then play the Scob. Exploit. Get back the songs. So far we're doing this all off a single Songs of the Damned, making a bunch of mana. And I'm gonna ploy here, I think. Discard that. Cycle. Okay, 30 cards left in deck. Keep cycling. We can always jumpstart the ploy too if we need to. I'd like a little bit more mana if possible. Keep cycling. There we go. Alright, cycle the Baron more. One another. So we have 3 songs left in the deck and we're just not hitting them. Return the Scob. We might have fizzled here depending on what our draws are, but we can always jumpstart the ploy to just gain a ton of life. Okay, and then return the other creatures that aren't Street Wraith. A lot of creatures coming home here. Exactly everyone. Alright, let's cycle this. 23 cards in deck, 3 songs in there. Cycle the Architects. I'll take a Cabal Ritual, that's fine. Cycle Stinger. We also have 2 Mystical Teachings that we haven't drawn yet. Cycle. Keep going. Alright, 3 mana floating. Running a little bit light here. And unfortunately, the Teachings is 1 draw too short. I'm sorry, I guess it's 2. So now we have to make the decision on whether we want to keep cycling or not. And we get 1 because I can sack 3 petals to cast the last ploy. And there we go. Alright, so I'm going to cast it. And that should be enough to just win the game. 14 cards left in deck. Okay. 10 cards left. Still 2 songs in there. There's another songs. 38 mana. It's more than a couple. I'm just going to return everyone at this point. It's fine. Let's make some red mana. Play Stinger. Okay, so it looks like we're going to get game number 1 over Affinity as long as I don't somehow mess this up. Which, you know, is a big ask because I'm a mess up, but bear with me. Let's cycle this Horror of the Broken Lands. Goes down to 6 cards, and there's the last Songs of the Damned. Let's cycle this Ash Barrens. I think there's still 1 land. Oh no, we just drew the last land. My bad. So this actually doesn't get anything. Okay. Cycle. Cycle the Ash Barrens. Why not? Doesn't actually cycle, but you know, it deals 3 damage. It's a lightning bolt. Alright, so we're 50% here to not need to cast Reaping the Graves. I like my odds. I guess technically we're 100% because I can just jumpstart the ploy. But we hit our 50%. And that's going to do it. Alright, game number 1 goes to the good guys. And you might be arguing that Affinity versus Storm is 2 bad guys, and well, you're probably not wrong, but in my eyes, I'm a good guy here. So you're watching my video, I get to be the good guy. And now we board in 2 Hydroblasts for the Atogs, and we just board out a Teachings and a Architects of Will. Submit. So in theory, you could board in Repeal. I don't think that's a great strategy. Affinity tries to beat you by boarding in Hydroblast, or not Hydroblast, Pyroblast, and it sort of plays into that. And we're only bringing in Hydroblast to slowly slow down Atog. We beat this matchup almost every other way. So we have our Hydroblast to counter their Pyroblast and to hit Atog, which is really all that matters in the matchup. You don't want to sacrifice consistency to have more theoretical answers. Like, consistency is usually the most important thing when playing a combo deck. Not always, but a good portion of the time. Game 2 against Affinity. We have our Island opener. Obviously, we're going to keep. Turn 1 Seat into Terrarion. Okay, let's just cycle the Cardio Dinosaur. Pass the turn. Another Petal. So next turn we can cycle this Healer and Street Wraith looking for land number 2. Sort of a slow start for our opponent. Cycle the Healer. Not a hit. Cycle the Street Wraith. Not a hit. We can play Petal and pass. Although we're doing fine for missing our second land drop. Excuse me. Your Enforcer? Sure. Play Petal. Cycle. Technically it's a land. I'm gonna play it out. Cycle. You could hold it to cycle for a swamp, but when we have these, we just don't need to. And, I mean, you could say that this was a lucky draw, but honestly, I would have rather drawn a creature. Opponent has 4 cards. Looks like they're going to sacrifice the Terrarion here to make 2 mana and draw a card. Black-blue. Deadly Dispute, so they're going to Ancestral Recall, essentially, here. Alright, Darksteel Citadel, and another copy of Mirror Enforcer. So there's a good chance our opponent has like a Spell Pierce or something in their hand. Dispel used to be pretty common, but recently Spell Pierce has been the card that these Affinity decks are playing, so I have a feeling that's what they're sitting on. So I could like play all my spells into Reaping the Graves, or I could play Blood Celebrant and pass. The problem with passing is I'm dead to just Atog plus Fling. They have 5 cards in hand. They didn't have mana last turn to do that. I think I'm just going to try to win here. It could fizzle. Like 5 cards could end up not being good enough, but I think now is a reasonable spot for me to try to win. And our opponent has cast that Spell Pierce that I thought that they had. So we're just going to respond here with another copy of Dark Ritual and pay. You have another Spell Pierce? They do. So I think I'm supposed to cast these songs because that would allow me to keep a blue open. And now we pay for each one of these, and it essentially just adds 1 mana for each copy. Okay, so they had double Pierce, which good for them. But now we need to win off even less mana. Okay. I guess we could end up passing the turn here. That's another option. Because they're pretty unlikely to kill me from Atog fling off 3 cards. Alright, let's cycle the Street Wraith. Cycle the Healer. Cycle the Dino. Goodbye Horror of the Broken Lands. Not hitting a lot of mana. Just keep cycling. Alright, so we hit Reaping the Graves, but we need to draw into songs if we want to keep comboing. I'm going to use the blue here because I have this Blood Celebrant, so I don't actually need the blue. Where if I cycle off the Barrenmoor, I could still hit a songs. Not looking good. Cycle. We did not hit. I think I'm going to play the Blood Celebrant to block, because I'd be dead to Gav Blast if I don't. If I draw like a Songs of the Damned or a Dark Ritual for turn, I can play Scob and get back Songs out of the graveyard. 2 mana. Pick her Wellspring. And I just have to block here. Yep. Draw. I think I'm just dead. I can theoretically just play Ploy for 1 and go to 9, but I'd be dead to any Burn Spell or Pyroblast. I think that's just got to be it. Because this hand doesn't do anything else, and they're going to Pyro me here and we'll be off to game 3. Ooh, they didn't have Pyro. Okay, so discard the Architects, I guess. Play Baron more, hope they don't have a burn spell. I mean, I don't know what they'd be sitting on if they didn't, but I guess I'm also dead to Disciple. Plus sacrifice something. There's the Disciple. And they had Gav Blast, sure. Okay, game 3. I'm just gonna resubmit. Okay, game 3 against Affinity. We have Barrenmore and a single cycler. I mean, it's tough to ship this because this hand has pretty much everything we want other than more creatures. I think that we just have to hope for an average draw. Okay, play the Barrenmore and pass. Great Furnace into Chrome Star. Sure, draw. Didn't really need another Reaping the Graves. Cycle. Okay, so we're going to pass here. Next turn, cycle the Architects. We need to hit more lands and creatures, so that drawing the Architects wasn't the worst. And Atog. Alright, let's cycle the Street Wraith. I'm going to cycle the Architects, and I can play the Petal, and then have Hydroblast up in case they try to, like, combo kill me all in one turn. And then pass. We need more creatures. Vault of Whispers. Thoughtcast. Yep. Okay, so our opponent's going to combat now. We're going to take 1 off the Atog. They might sacrifice the star, but I doubt it. Yeah, so now we're at 17. Vicar Wellspring. So they might be trying to combo kill me next turn. Draw. Stinger. So I could play out the Blood Celebrant as a blocker. It might honestly just be the play. Because then they'd have to Gav Blast it plus have everything else. And I'm going to cycle the Stinger now in case I hit a land. And I didn't. So a card that's been seeing a lot of play recently in these Affinity lists is Wedding Invitation, which says it's a 2-mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you get to draw a card, sacrifice this permanent. Target creature gains unblockable, I believe it says, or target creature can't block. It's one of the two, but I believe it's this creature is unblockable. And so they've been playing that with Atog to force through easier combo wins. That could be a card our opponent looks to play here, and then so they draw a card, they sacrifice it, and then they have 11 damage at the moment, plus 2 draws. So even if they have another land, they can go land Fling, which would be lethal. Disciple of the Vault. That's also a card that could deal me lethal damage. Okay, so they're honestly not far off from killing me here. This is... So assuming that they have Fling, 6, so I would go to 11 plus Fling. They must not have it. Draw. Okay, so now I'm in a tough spot because I lose to Spell Pierce. I could play around Spell Pierce by starting on Songs, I guess. But that's not maximizing the mana that I have. I guess I could start on the Cabal Ritual and see if they try to Spell Pierce it, and then if they do, I can respond with Songs. I'm just 1 card short of Threshold, which is an issue. I have 5 in the graveyard plus the Petal. Lists are currently playing 2 to 3 Spell Pierce, so it's not uncommon for them to have it here. I think I just have to start off on Songs. Alright, cycle. Cycle this going to 15. I would have hit my land, which is kind of a bummer if I started on cycling. I mean, I made a decision that that was a risky line, so can't be too upset. And now we're reaping the graves for 3. You get back double Street Wraith to save on mana. The problem is I'm getting pretty close to being dead to that ATOG. Wraith, Wraith. Because this represents 6 damage, then if they have a Gav Blast in hand, that's exactly 10. And if I lose 4, this Petal loses 1, and that's 10 life. Okay, keep cycling. These are not good draws. Cycle. I really need a Songs in order to win this. I think we just fizzled. So this is for 6. I don't know what to do here. Get back these Street Wraiths. Or Stinger. And I think Celebrant is like a backup blocker, maybe. So if I try to sacrifice Petal here, they can kill me in response. But I don't know if I have another line. So one thing I could do is Hydroblast the ATOG right now and then make them make a decision. But once again, I'm dead to Gav Blast. Or Fling. Alright. Destroy the ATOG. Okay, so they're going to draw a card off Ichor Wellspring. Does Hydroblast resolve? Yeah, they're going to sacrifice the Chrome Star, trying to dig a little bit deeper. I don't blame them. Okay. So they might have it here. And there's the Fling. Okay, so it turns out they found the Fling or we're sitting on it. So now we have to cycle and deploy or another Hydroblast here. So only 3 cards in our deck and we only have 2 looks. So let's cycle the Street Wraith. Cycle Street Wraith. And we missed. Yeah, our opponent got us. We are 2-1, not the end of the world. I do think that this is a reasonably good matchup for us. But sometimes, you know, it is the best deck in the format for a reason, am I right? So, not the end of the world. It's only 1 loss. And we're just going to bounce back. So, I will see you in match number 4. Hey, you're still watching. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. If you're looking to make a purchase from Card Hoarder, TCG Player, or Amazon and are looking to support us, you can open up our description down below, and in there you will find our affiliate links. Those same links are found on the homepage of the Epic Storm, but that's not all. We've included a Card Hoarder button on our website that will load the Epic Storm in your Card Hoarder cart to make life simple for you. Match number 4, we're on the draw, and well, I think that this is a keep, so I'm going to click the keep button. What are we facing? Island. Okay. Are you fairies or are you Azorius Familiars? Could be either. 2 to the bottom. Draw. Okay, let's send that dinosaur to the graveyard. That's the turn. Another island into Augur. So this is probably fairies. Familiars typically doesn't play Augur. Let's cycle the Stinger, why not? Looking for a land here, we missed. Let's cycle the Street Wraith. No land. Got the Petal. So we missed a pretty good opportunity to start getting ahead there. Not to win, but now we're stuck on 1 land, which is a little bit weird. Island, are they mono blue? Is this a ninja? It is a ninja. So we're getting a potential window to win the game here. So a Reaping the Graves would be a good draw. Another Songs is obviously good. I think I'm going to try to capitalize. Dark Ritual. Cycle Healer. Okay. Cycle healer, going down to 1 black. Ding. So I'm going to cast the songs here because I could tap the island, but then I can't use the Scob later. Okay, just keep cycling. And another island. We're going to songs, tap the island, play Scob, and sacrifice it to get back our Songs of the Damned. Now this makes 8. Pretty free for me to play this island. Play the Blood Celebrant. 7, 8. So I think this is actually a spot where we could do the songs trick. We're going to hold priority. Actually, I'm going to go down mana. So this would make 8. I have 11 available mana, so it's a break even. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Okay. Turn Street Wraith. We get rewarded as long as we draw a ritual somewhere in here. Cycle the Street Wraith. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that draw, but let's draw a ritual somewhere. Okay. Keep cycling. Just keep cycling. Oh, these have been some bad draws. Alright, keep going. I'm not going to cycle that because I get punished for doing so. Cycle Architects. Cycle the Dino. Dark Ritual. Right now it would have been the same because right now it's going to make 9, but we're going to return the Scob, so it's only going to make 8. So if this Barradmore hits a creature, it would have made an extra mana. And it was essentially the same thing here. So it's going to make 8 mana. Play Petal. Play the Scob again. Exploit it. Get back the songs. Cast it. And Reaping the Graves. Okay, Street Wraith, click through. I wonder if we just have a win here. So we would go down to 7 mana floating. I think I'm supposed to keep cycling. Okay. Cycle. The last Songs of the Damned. Good draw. I believe it's the last one at least. I think we started this turn on triple songs, so that would be songs number 4. Cycle this healer. Cycle Stinger. Love a good Lotus Petal. Cycle. Okay, keep going. Cast this Cabal Ritual. Cycle the Architects of Will. I wonder how often, if like someone could put a timer on one of these videos to see how often I say cycle to fill up the airtime so that way it doesn't get clipped. Like, I'd bet that there's probably north of 200 times where I say the word cycle. Okay, so these copies are going to fizzle, and then the Scob is going to come back. We should cast this songs here because it just creates an extra mana. Okay. Go down to 10. Play the Scob. Exploit it. Get back songs. God, Scob is so good. Alright, and then we Reaping, and then end the game. This is why I decided to wait. Like, we got to have 27 mana floating post Reaping here, where if I had decided to stop and play Stinger there, we probably would have won, but there's also a chance we fizzled, where if I had kept going, I knew that I just would win the game based on the resources we had available. So I decided to not take a risky line and take a conservative line where I knew I would win as long as I just did some extra actions in between. Okay. Now let's make some red mana here. One thing to be aware of is your life total. Some people, including myself, are guilty of this in the past, of not paying attention to your life total. and then you just start cycling street racing. Before you know it, you're dead. All right, so we have 3 stingers in play. Let's make it 4. Okay. Cycle. Yield to these triggers. Okay. Should be easy. 18 minutes left on the clock. That's plenty. It's like so much fun to play. I love it. There's been a few of you that have left comments saying that like I upload this deck too often. Well, if this deck wasn't so much fun to play, I probably wouldn't record with it as often as I do. One of the things that I love about this deck is there's so many micro decisions in every single match that have meaningful impacts on the game. And it's the sort of magic that I love to play. So that's a major part of why I like playing this deck. Decks like the Pinger deck that I uploaded sort of do the same thing every game, and the decisions, like, there are decisions to be made, but they're not nearly as complex as they are with this deck. Anyway, enough of my preaching. Let's just move on to sideboarding. We're going to do the same plan as earlier. We have these 4 spells coming in. We're going to shave a, not a Barrymore, a Petal, and then Architects and a Teachings. Good hand. Deep. Okay. Preordain, you got it. So you may have noticed that I did not board in Repeal here. That was not on accident. The thing is, a lot of these fairy decks play a single copy of Relic in their board, and I don't know how I feel about. I mean, it's probably fine, but like you'd have to board out good cards in order to board in the Repeals, which is just like not really worth it in my eyes. So that's why I'm not crazy about the idea of just like bringing Repeals over Cyclers or something else. So they're getting their clock going, that or they have a ninja that they want to put into play here. And it is in fact the ninja. Alright, so we're going to go to 18. On their end step, we'll cycle twice. And if they miss their land drop, it's a pretty... Well, they didn't. Okay, so they're telling us, like, hey, window's clear if you want to take it. We would need some pretty good draws, but it's a possibility depending on what our draws are here. So let's cycle this horror. Dispel, okay. Dark Ritual. Let's untap and draw. Pyroblast. Let's cycle the healer. You can also put horror into play with Dispel back up. We've already won 1 match today with horror. Let's try it. Boom. The fear is that the mono blue decks tend to have snap in them. I don't know if our opponent's actually mono blue or not. You don't normally see the snow covereds in mono blue. All right. Tap and draw. Let's get in there. I am the aggro deck. Cycle. Okay. We drew a Dark Ritual. Let's cycle the Stinger. Okay, cycle this. So 10 damage coming in at the moment. Let's make it 12. 14. Okay. So if I play Petal, they're just gonna like snap, counter it with their spell stutter. So I'm gonna pass instead. Yep. Because I can use the Pyroblast now on my turn to clear way for the horror. So they're probably going to attack with the ninja and leave back spell stutter, if I had to guess. So I only need to draw 1 cycler paired with the interaction I have in my hand, and it could end up being lethal. Okay, so I'm going to go to 10 life here. Okay, so they end up having 2 blockers. No cards in a hand off Augur. Love to see it. So they are red. Alright. So they don't have snap. And we didn't draw a cycler to kill them anyway. Send the Abyss in. Okay, pass the turn. All right, so we're at, what are you doing here? Cycling Ash Barrens, got it. So we're at 10 right now. It's a little bit dicey. Another Augur. I just have to let it go. Echoing Truth. They gave me a window to win here. They have 6 cards. Come on, Cycler. Yes. Okay, so I wonder if I'm supposed to try to get them to counter the songs. So if I start off on Songs of the Damned, they're going to counter it. And then I can kill their Augur with Dispel back up. Come on, counter it. Do it. Counter spell. Yes. Kill Augur. So if they have Echoing Truth here, I can Dispel it and cycle for lethal. Okay. Get in there. No blocks, cycle. If they Echoing Truth, we have the one of Dispel. Get out of here. Boom. We're too good. Flex. You'll love to see it. 3-1. Horror of the Broken Lance is just doing damage today. Absolute damage. All right, round number 5 coming right up. I love this deck. It's so awesome. If you're looking for more great Magic the Gathering content, definitely check out the Eternal Glory podcast. It is myself, Bryant Cook, alongside Brian Koval and Phil Gallagher. We primarily discuss Legacy. That said, a lot of what we talk about transcends all formats. We're available on all major podcast platforms. All right, match number 5. We're on the draw. I think that this hand's probably a keep. The land being... Skred again. The land being Ash Barrens obviously isn't ideal. That was fine. Let's cycle this, see if we can hit a real land. Nope. Okay, so we'll just play this and cycle. Go grab our swamp. Pass the turn. Okay, so that's good for us that they had a tap land on turn 2. Fairy Seer. So on our second turn, we're looking to double cycle. And if they tap out on turn 3 to go Ninja back into a Fairy, we can maybe look to win the game. 2 on top of the Fairy Seer is kind of scary. Alright, I'm going to hide that Street Wraith. We don't really want them to see that we're going to fill up our graveyard quickly, because I would like it if they tapped out. Okay, so they put 2 on top and then immediately shuffled one of them away. We're going to take 1 here going to 17, unless they decide to put a Ninja into play. They did not. Preordained. So this is a window for us to try to win here. Because most of these decks don't play 1-mana interaction. And another Fairy. Okay, so we want to find a Reaping the Graves immediately. That's our goal. Alright, tap this, cycle the Drannith Healer. Cycle Stinger. Right, we have all the mana we could possibly want. We just have to find a Reaping. Right, cycle. Architects. Let's cycle the Street Wraith. Cycle Street Wraith. Come on, deck. Be good. Alright, I'm going to Dark Ritual. Cycle the Architects. Okay. I think I'm supposed to Cabal Ritual here. Cycle Stinger. Please, deck. Be good to me. Going to 11. Cycle. Alright, we have 2 more looks. Cycle. There we go. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Boom. Cycle. Cycle this too. Why not? Lotus Petal. We only have Storm 4. Okay. So we're going to... Do I want to remove a land from the deck? Probably Songs of the Damned, and then Reaping the Graves. We're gonna have 10 mana. So this is only gonna be for 6. That said, we can return quadruple Street Wraith. And something we could do is return the healer, but I think that's not necessarily the best use of our mana. So instead, I'm just gonna return 4 Street Wraith. And then one other creature. I guess it could be a healer. Okay, and I don't need to do any sort of cycle tricks here, and by that I mean respond to each other to keep songs more active, because I'm going to have enough mana to cycle everything I want anyway. We hit a song, so now we want to find another Reaping the Graves. Go to 3. Cycle. Okay, keep cycling. Can I get a Teachings? 29 cards. This is our last draw. And come on, Doc. Oh, you're making me nervous here. 27 cards left. Hit. Oh, we fizzled. Oh, so much mana. We're just dead. I even removed a swamp from the deck before I started to increase my probability. So we're just dead to a ninja or a lightning bolt here. Unfortunate. So we're going to go to 1. And if they have ninja, we're just dead. And it looks like they have the ninja. Yeah, and that's damage. Yep. The next card is going to be it. Draw. Stinger. Okay, we would have fizzled even with an extra draw or 2. That's a bummer. We got really low into our deck to fizzle. Alright, so same board plan as before. So go out these architects and a Teachings. That's a bummer. Like, getting that low, and we found 2 songs and 1 reaping with 25 cards left in deck. This is fine. I'm gonna take some mulligan to 6. Okay, Island Pass. And they're going to do the same, but I'm going to cycle on their end step. Goodbye, Dino. Dark Ritual. We need a land here, so cycle the healer. We found Barrenmore. Let's see if we can find a different land off the Street Wraith, though. No is the answer, so we're going to play the Barrenmore and pass. Augur of Bolas. So I think I'm going to play the Blood Celebrant on my turn, assuming that I miss here. Curfew. Well, now I'm not going to play the Blood Celebrant. Ploy. You know what? I'm going to cast it. Reaping the Graves. Not quite ready to win yet. I think it's supposed to be the Pyroblast, but it feels wrong. Play the Barrymore and pass the turn. They didn't attack. That's funny. I'm just going to pass here. I'll take it. Go to 18. Ninja. Sure. I kind of want to jumpstart the Ploy, but I'm not sure what I'd actually discard. Honestly, the Songs is like one of the worst cards in my hand. I think it's supposed to be the Songs here. Like, Cabal Ritual at this point in time is better than than Songs of the Damned. So I'm going to discard the land. And now we try to win. Okay, so we're going to make a red. Pyroblast to counter the counter spell. So Cabal Ritual resolve, cycle Horror. Cycle Stinger. Go to 16. Put Cabal Ritual. Cycle the Healer. Cycle Vantage. We need a Songs. Damn. How many creatures are in graveyard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have a songs in here. We have 8. So something else I could do is just accept that I'm not going to win this turn, and then destroy the ninja and refill my hand with Reaping the Graves. That said, I do have 2 street rates in here, so I could theoretically get 3 looks at a songs. So I think I'm supposed to leave myself the upside of hitting, and accept that I'm going to get 1 less creature back. Because like the difference between 6 and 7 creatures right now, I don't think is that huge. Okay, so first street rate, cycle. Cycle. Okay, I technically get 4 more. I guess I'll Cabal Ritual here. Cycle. Okay. Keep going. So this is my last opportunity to hit a songs. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a red mana here and kill the ninja. Whoops. Okay. I guess I could have had 1 more look at cycling, but that seems risky. Get in there. 5 lands and 6 cards in hand for our opponent. I'm just gonna pass. If they tap out, I can Teachings for songs or Reaping the Graves, or I can just cycle on their end step. There's the red source. Still 5 cards in hand. They've used 1 counterspell. They have an augur that we know about. I think I'm just going to cycle. Because if I at least get 1 more blue, I could possibly have Dispel up. Cycle again. And this Barrenmore. Draw. Let's go to 9. Jeez. Go to 7. Going down to 22 cards in deck with this draw. And we hit. I wonder if they would counterspell the Blood Sovereign if I played it. I think I'm just going to hang on to it for now. So they're going up to 6 cards. And now they're willing to play the Augur again. They must have double, like, hard counter. Pyroblast. So they have an answer to my Dispel now. Draw. Metal. Am I allowed to have a Dark Ritual? What about Cabal Ritual? Blood Celebrant? Let's try songs. I'm going to try to Teachings in response here. Ooh, it looks like we don't actually have a Pyroblast left. We've used all of our Pyroblasts. Okay, I will add a blue. Dispel. So it looks like this one is just going to get countered no matter what because I've used all of my Pyroblasts. So that's kind of a bummer. How many songs do I have left? 1, 2, 3. So it looks like I have 1 left. You know what? I should be able to win from here. I'm going to get the last songs and then Reaping. Okay. We only have the 1 stinger right now, but this should just be enough. Return everyone. Okay, so play our stinger for now. Cycle. And actually, I think I'm going to play a healer because essentially it's going to make sure that I can cast or cycle these street rates. So it's just worth playing it out for the extra mana. We'll essentially create draws, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Okay. Just keep cycling. Cycle. And again. Gotta watch our life total, though. I know that each one is essentially only one life, but just don't want to go too low on accident. Alright, let's cycle a dino here. We have not hit another stinger. There's 3 stingers in the bottom of our deck. Scob's decent. I don't know if we actually need another songs, but it's nice to know that we have it. Okay, so we have 10 cards left. Cycle another healer. Auto yield. Okay, it looks like we don't even technically need to play another one. We have enough mana floating, and their life total is less than the amount of mana we have, so should just be fine. That said, I did draw another cycle. 11 minutes left should be plenty. Cycle this. And cycle again. And that's going to be game number 2. Okay, so now we're going back to our board. I don't think I want to change anything. I'm probably just going to leave it as is. This seemed right to me. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep this. Turn 1 forward. So while the Horde doesn't cycle for black, we open up the Blood Celebrant again in our opening hand, which isn't ideal. This hand is strong enough that I think that you should keep it. Oof. That hurts. Yeah, we might have just lost. They open up another Singleton Relic. And we're going to miss our land drop here. Yeah, we lost this. That's a bummer. So I made a conscious decision in all 3 matches that we faced today versus this deck to not board in the Repeal because I think you have a better deck without it, especially since it's dead except for their single piece of hate. They just happen to draw it in their 7 this game. So, you know, it happens. Yeah, and I'm going to save myself some time here. We're not winning this one. So unfortunately, we're 3-2. Not the end of the world. 2 runs left to go. Let's just focus on winning those. Welcome to round number 6. We're looking to bounce back after that tough loss. We're going to keep this and see how this round goes. Okay. Cliffs. So that is not a snow duel. I think I'm just going to play the Barrymore and pass. Upkeep cycle to go grab an island. Tron. Tough matchup. Cycle this Ash Barrens. Go grab our island. Draw. I think I'm just going to play the island. Pass the turn. So I mentioned it in the intro, but this matchup's tough due to our opponent's ability to cast Crop Rotation into Bazooka Bog at any moment. You got it. Cycle the Architects. Okay, draw. I think we just play Swamp and pass. And that's Tron. Not good for us. Discarded Thornwood Falls. 5 colorless mana and a blue. Mnemonic Wall. Alright, they're giving us a window to win here, so I think we should probably try to take it. They don't have any counterspell or crop rotation up. Cycle the Street Wraith. Dark Ritual, cycle the Horror. Cycle Healer. It's not looking good so far. Cycle the Vantasaur. Okay, draw. Another land. Ugh. Alright, Dark Ritual, let's cycle Barrymore. Architects. Cast the Cabal Ritual. Let's cycle the Architects of Will. Teaching. So if we find a Songs now, gives us some options. Cycle the Baronmore. Cycle Horror. Their Songs. Okay. I'm going to play the Ploy. So I could discard the Celebrant here to make more mana. But I don't think that's actually the right thing to do. Maybe it is. I don't know. Let's do it. Let's discard those. I feel like mana is going to be a choke point. So that's why I'm doing it. Let's cycle the Vantasaur. Wow, what a good hit. Wow. Alright, so now we can Teachings, go get another copy of Songs. And now Reaping the Graves. Get back that Blood Celebrant. We can return 8 creatures. So there's going to be 1 that's left. Click through, click carefully so you don't accidentally double click on the same one. Okay, let's cycle that Street Wraith. Ball Ritual is a terrific draw, love it. Cycle Stinger. Lots of creatures. We want to find another copy of Songs. We have 2 left with 30 cards. Cycle the Healer. Scob is good because it can get back a song, so I like that. Cycle. Alright. Go down to 19 cycle. I love these Street Wraiths. Those are good. I'm gonna cast Cabal Ritual. Alright, so I can go down to 6 mana here. We need to keep 5 floating for the Scob. That was a very good draw. Okay, cycle this Architects. Ding! I think we got it. I think we got it. So all that's left is the Blood Celebrant. So before the Celebrant should come back, or would come back, I should cast this Songs of the Damned. Dark Ritual. Songs. And now we can return the Celebrant. Play it. Go down to 16 life. Play Repository Scob. Sacrifice it to return a Songs. And they conceded. Yes, we stole game number 1. Arguably the most difficult game in this matchup. Alright, bring in the Dispels. So my plan here was to not board in Pyroblast, but maybe I should bring up a list and reconsider that. Alright, so here is the Pauper metagame. Here's Tron in 4th place. So main deck, they have 1 Prohibit and 2 Dispel. And then they're boarding in Pyroblast and Hydroblast. I am looking to not turn on Hydroblast by not boarding in my Pyros. So that means that Pyroblast only hits 3 cards. I don't think I'm supposed to board it in. I think instead I should try to fight back with Dispels here. What to board out? Could be a Teachings. I could also leave an Architects. Because I'm definitely going to board out 2 Architects. So now it's Teachings or Architects number 3. I think I'm going to do a Teachings. They're just like a really, really juicy target for Pyroblast and post-board games. Yeah, and this hand's fine. Keep. Power Plant. Okay. Draw. So I might be able to cycle this Baronmore now. Power. Looks like they're just going to have Natural Tron against me. That's not good. Cycle. Grab a Swamp. Pass the turn. So one way that you can beat them in post-board games, not that it always works, okay, not Tron, is that, what am I trying to say here? They board out their Moments pieces, so then sometimes you can just get them with a Horror of the Broken Land. Cycle this. So if they wanted to, they could crop rot right now for the missing Tron piece, but they're letting me untap. And I'm just going to pass. Still not Tron. Love it. They're naming red here, which probably indicates that they have a Pyroblast in hand. And let's cycle the Stinger. Cycle Wraith. Got a little bit punished for the way I tapped there. Right, let's cycle this. Trying to hit a land. Cycle. You know what? I'm just gonna cycle. It's fine. They're not gonna bog me here. Like, they would try to wait till I do something. Now they're teachings for crop rotation to go get Tron. They got Dispel. That's kind of surprising. 4 cards in hand for our opponent. Let's Cabal Ritual. Pass the turn. I don't think it's worth fighting over a Dispel. And that Cabal Ritual is not that important. Tapping 3 mana for a compulsive research. You got it. Discarded Thornwood Falls. Alright, so they have 5 cards in hand. Let's cycle Stinger. Okay, untap and draw. I'm going to play the Ash Barrens and let's cycle the Street Wraith. Let's try our hand at another Cabal Ritual. That one went. Songs of the Damned. So if they have a crop rotation, this is a pretty juicy time for them to try to cast it. I'm going to try to get them to counter the Scab with their Pyroblast, because they named red, so there's a pretty good chance they have a Pyroblast here. Alright, and they just ate that bait right up. So now it doesn't matter what their last piece of interaction is, because we're going to get them. Alright, so I have from 7. I shouldn't return the Scab because I can't afford to right now, so instead I'm just going to go for the other cards. Return some Street Wraiths. And then some other creatures. I have 17 mana floating, so I'm just going to return everything right now, rather than trying to respond to each copy of Reaping the Graves. Helps play around crop rotation just a little bit. Not that crop rotation really matters, but just, I don't know, it's good practice. Another copy of Reaping. And another Songs. Beautiful. Just keep cycling. Okay. Almost down to 30 cards at this point. So I think now what we'd like to find is our Blood Celebrant. Old Bloody would absolutely end this game. Is that not a good nickname? Old Bloody? Alright, keep cycling. I started this turn on the Ash Baron, so I have already played my lands. Or land. Dark Ritual. Songs. And Reaping the Graves. So this is going to be for 12. This time I am going to return the Scab, because I have an extra blue mana. Healer can come back. Stinger, Stinger. Street Wraiths. Guess we're just getting everything. And with 20 mana floating, we have plenty where you don't need to do any sort of responding. We're just looking to dig for the Celebrant. So that way I can start playing my Stingers to end the game. Alright, so now I can play one Stinger. I guess I could probably play both, actually. Who am I kidding? Like, we have double Dispel. They only have one. Yeah, I should just shut up and cast my spells. Alright, so let's play the second Stinger. Just end this. All right, so you had a fluster. Honestly, part of me wants to just like dagger them and kill them with that on the stack, or let it resolve and then kill them, because I can definitely deal 45 damage, which is how much life they're gaining here. All right, so I think it's pretty free to just respond. Like, yes, I can just like deal them 70 damage or whatever, but I think it's just better to do it this way. How many songs do I have left? 1, 2, 3. All right, so I do have one song left in the deck, and there's Reaping. So if I find that songs, this game's just over. Auto yield. Okay. But might as well pull the last basic out of the deck. Okay, keep cycling. Just keep cycling. Okay. Haven't found it yet. 14 cards left. I actually probably just have enough mana to win even without the songs, because the fact that it's re-rate cycle for free. The Cabal Ritual also does it. But I've got it all. Cycle the Baron more. So it looks like we're going to beat a pretty bad matchup here. Like, if you told me at this point in the day that I would be 4-2 after 6 rounds and that I faced Tron, I would have guessed that Tron would have been one of the losses. And it looks like we won. So we are now 4-2 with 1 round left to go. Let's win it. Welcome to the final round. We're on the draw against Le Cookie, some cookie on cookie action here. And we're going to keep this. Just try to win. We were 13th coming into the round, so even with a win, it's a little bit of a pipe dream in order to top 8 this thing. And suspend Riftbolt. So the burn matchup. Am I going to get punished? I did cut the Gnaw from the Bones, so I could get punished here by doing so. We're on the draw, which is not good for us. Going to 17. And Curse. Okay. We're going to take 1 here. I'm going to auto yield to this ability. Draw. Cycle the Horror. Okay, we had a land. That's good. Play that out. And let's cycle the Dino. We might have to try to win next turn. Bolt us. Needle Drop. Okay. And suspend Riftbolt. So we're going to go to 11 here, and then we have to play around Fire Blast this turn. Let's cycle the Street Wraith, because I think that this is most likely just a go turn. Cycle Stinger. Teachings. Dark Ritual. Cycle the Horror. Ash Barrens is not what I wanted. Let's cycle the Baron more. Another Teachings. Gross. Not good. Pedal. Songs. I think I just have to Reaping for 4 here. Yeah. So I think realistically we want to draw into Ploy and then try to rebuild for later. Which is kind of a tall ask. We don't have a whole lot of mana right now. And these draws have just been terrible. Okay. Cycle. If this was 1 draw earlier, because now we have to sack the blue source. Okay, so now we're hoping to cycle into songs. Yeah, I'm just dead here. How many creatures are in the graveyard? 5, so Teachings for songs is the same amount of mana. Yeah, I think they got us. So in order to keep going, I think realistically we would need to cycle into songs off the Street Wraith, and we did not. Cycle. So this puts me to 3. I'm dead to Fire Blast. Okay, and I can concede now. All right, so we did not get game number 1. It happens. And now we are going to bring in Hydroblast in the extra ploy, take out a Teachings, and these Architects. You could board in Dispel over the last Architects. Or actually, I'm going to board out one Street Wraith too. So you could board in Dispel, but I think that's not really what you want to be doing. Like, the Hydroblast is versatile. It can kill a Pinger. It can do a bunch of stuff. Where Dispel, like, it doesn't quite do enough, I think. And here, unfortunately, there's no Cyclers, so we just have to ship this. Closer. I think you're actually supposed to bottom a Reaping the Graves here. Our opponent also took a mulligan. Right, turn 1 Baron Moore, pass. Lightning Bolt, you got it. So we're going to cycle and go get the island, which is a little bit awkward because we have this horror here, but I think just having access to the island is going to be pretty important. I'm going to go to 15 and cycle this. Right, so we drew Hydro. Supposed to counter that? I don't know. Like, it allows them to filter, and then it's going to deal me recurring damage. I'm just going to counter. Like, it's essentially going to be guaranteed 2 damage, plus them filtering a draw. Alright, let's cycle the horror. Okay, pass. This game's not going well for us. Yep. Draw. We drew Ploy, which is great, but we don't have any way to really abuse it here. So it's going to gain 1 life on their end step. Maybe we should play out Petal. Need to think about this. So let's say they try to kill me. I could go Dark Ritual, Reaping the Graves, cycle. It's actually not good enough. Here's hoping they can't deal me 12. 2 mana. Curse. That is not a card that going to kill me here. So it looks like we're going to get to play Ploy. Maybe fix this hand up a little bit, hopefully. Probably discarding this Teachings, but let's see. Yeah, Teachings has got to go here. So it essentially breaks even with the life that we would take from Curse here. Trying to figure out if I should try to do something. Let's cycle the horror. Okay. Cycle. Let's cycle this Stinger too. Maybe hit an untapped land. Not quite what I asked for. Okay, so now we can jumpstart the Ploy. And so the question is, do you discard Petal or the Barrenmore? So the Barrenmore cycles to help you dig towards the songs, but the Petal's storm when we have almost none of it. I think that the Petal's like not that impressive, so I'd rather just try to dig for songs. Okay. Do I play it? Yeah, I'm gonna play it out. Alright, so they still have 3 cards in hand. Not looking good for me. Another Pinger. Yep. So I'm gonna go to 14 here. I mean, they could just kill me at some point. That was a good draw. Let's cycle. Every game that I play without the Gnaw to the Bone feels like I'm just like living by the skin of my teeth. So I can play songs, flashback Teachings, go get another songs into Reaping. I don't love it, but it does create Storm. Okay. 2 songs left in the deck after this. Now you return 4 creatures. So I can actually get back a healer. I don't know if that's actually something I want to play or not, but it's a choice I can make. Question is, do I want to put myself to 12 and get a Street Wraith here? I think the answer is no. I can play the Blood Celebrant into healer, but if they have a Searing Blaze, I look like a dummy. But I think I'm going to play the healer to try to buy some time. Excuse me. And let's cycle. Hydroblast. It's not the worst. I can use it to protect my healer. Or stop a Fire Blast. I'm gonna pass. Auto yield to that. Okay, so I'm gonna go to 10, and then essentially 8 with their pings. Excuse me. Yep. So if they go bolt, pointed at me. I go to 5. 3. Their last card's Fire Blast. I'm dead no matter what. Yeah, so that's a bummer because the Blood Celebrant cost me 1 life to counter, and then these untap and kill me anyway, or I'm dead to the Curse of the Fire, whatever it's called. So, yeah, unfortunately, we lost a burn. You know, I did cut the green package today, and it resulted in a loss. That said, even when I had the ploy, I only had like 2 or 3 creatures in the graveyard, so it only would have gained 6. So, I don't know. Maybe we want the green splash, maybe we don't. It's tough to say. I will say this. I liked a lot of what we saw here today. So let me go back. I'll just minimize. And go back here. So I liked the Dispels. Repeal seemed fine. I mean, it seemed better than Shredded Sails. I don't know if we need the Darkness, but we didn't face those matchups, so it's tough to say. The spare ploy never really came up in my opinion. So if you wanted to, you could maybe not play this package and instead play the green package. So you could cut ploy and Hydroblast for the 2 green cards. So that's an option. You're a little bit worse against Affinity, but it's a choice you can make. Because you could board in Dispel for Fling there, but then Dispel doesn't kill Atog. So that's a sacrifice you make. I'm interested to know your thoughts. I understand that 4-3 isn't like spectacular or anything, but I don't know. I feel like I learned a lot today, and I really do mean that. So, not trying to show off how much I have up here. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Keep storming. Have a great day. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.